Welcome to Back Talk, the premier podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine, featuring in depth conversations and expert insights on crucial topics for Black families. We are ranked one of the top 4 Black family podcasts on FeedSpot. I'm your host, Janice Robinson Celeste. Think back to the last time you really sat down and played with your child. How did that moment shape your relationship or create a lasting memory for both of you? On this special Father's Day edition of Back Talk, you're going to hear from a dad who knows that play is the ultimate love language. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
This is Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Today, on this special edition of Back Talk, I'm joined by withJavon Frazier, founder and CEO of Maestro Media and veteran digital strategist behind hit launches at Marvel and Studio 71. But beyond the boardrooms and business plans, withJavon believes that play is the universal love language. So let's dive into how you can press play on deeper connections with your kids. Welcome to the show, withJavon. withJavon, can you tell our Back Talk audience who you are, your background, and what led you to found Maestro Media?
Yeah, Javon Frazier, founder and CEO of Maestro Media. We make games, both physical and very soon digital games of some of the biggest brands in the world. We've had a chance to work with Disney and Sanrio with Hello Kitty and Smurfs, and we've got a big Clash of Clans campaign coming up, which is really exciting. And I founded the company because I've been a lifelong fan of these brands, and it's something that I get a chance to do with my family. I've got father of 2 daughters, 13 and 9, and they're my daughters are unpaid play testers, and so we did a strawberry shortcake game as well, which is one of their favorite shows, and their names are in the credits, and so it's been a great business, but also a way that I can bond with my daughters.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be talking about play today. And you know what? It's nice to be able to just sit down, turn the phone off, and play with your kids. So that's going to be our topic today about playing. And dad's playing with the kids it's just different. And we're going to talk about that too. Usually when dads actually physically play with kids, it looks different from what mom does. But what games would we recognize that you've done?
Great. Yeah, I mean, we're known for a game called The Binding of Isaac, which we did with an independent game creator named Edmund McMillan. That's the game that really launched our company, and I can kind of go into that. That game has been very successful. We also did a game for Donald Duck's 90th anniversary with Disney called Donald Duck Happy Camper. We've done a strawberry shortcake game, which I just talked about, which is strawberry shortcake is one of my daughter's favorite, brands. We've also done a game for Smurfs called Smurfs Hidden Village, which is amazing. Tons of games. We've got a Hello Kitty game that's selling everywhere. It's selling at Walmart in Canada and selling Hot Topic and all these places. And so we've done a ton of games with a ton of iconic brands, and we're continuing to expand that, which is great.
Now, are these for like PlayStations, downloadable? How does it work?
No, we've been focused on tabletop, which I think the way that you mentioned, kind of getting a chance to kind of turn off the television and and sit down and play a tabletop game around the table.
So it's like board game kind of thing, card game kind of thing. Okay.
Around the table, right. Family. And we started this business during COVID, right? Which was a time where I think all of us were, at home with our kids, for those that had kids, trying to figure out a way to, create some experiences, at a time that was very challenging. And so tabletop games really meant a lot to our family. Actually was our event of the night that we would sit down and, have that, collaboration and our family betrayal, right? Because you try to beat each other at the game. And really our company has really grown from that ideology of bringing people back around the table to have, experiences with friends and family.
That is fantastic. You know what? We do a Christmas guide for our parents every year. You got to make sure you send me um, all the different things that you make, so that way I can highlight them in there as kind of black owned, because that's what we do. We highlight black owned toys, all kinds of things. So make sure you don't forget about us as the holidays start to approach, and we'll make sure we highlight some of the games that you created,
You've
and we'll
got a
always talk about
you've
it.
got a big Christmas package coming from Santa. Don't worry.
Thanks a lot.
Not you
Thank
think-
you so much. That's good because I just started buying more games and we moved, so we have a lot of stuff in storage. So I just started buying some games. So I appreciate that. Before we get really into it, what is one surprising fact about you that most people don't know? That's our icebreaker.
Oh wow. Okay.
It has nothing to do with games.
That's cool. No, I've got a bunch. Me and my wife met each other when we were both 12 years old in seventh grade. And so I've known my wife. I'm not 12 years old anymore. I'm much older.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And to even make it more compelling, we met each other at the school that my daughter now attends, right? So I don't know if that's
That's
sweet
a
or
love
awkward for
story.
her, but yeah, she goes to the school now and she's matriculating from middle school to high school tomorrow. And so she still goes to the school that her mom and dad met each other at.
Well, not only are you a successful Black parent, but that story is amazing. Again, it's got me thinking editorial. I'm like, oh, that's a great Valentine story. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about that coming up. Um, I noticed that in the paperwork that we got about you, it said that you describe play as a love language, right? As a love language. How does that work, and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me and my daughters, like we connected and bonded. I think I started this business. I was flying about 150,000 miles a year, traveling to China and going flying all over the world. And I started this business really um, as a way to kind of be home, right? I didn't know that. It's so funny. I was like, okay, I'm going to be home with my family. And then COVID happened, right?
Mhm.
So I didn't know I was going to be that much home, right?
That's
Like
that's
started
true.
this business in 2019 and you're like, okay, then next year's like COVID. Okay, my God. And so, starting this business during COVID and building the business together with my family. I remember literally putting big sheets of paper on the ground and we're like, okay, we're doing this. And my daughters really helped out with our game design, our gameplay. And I do think games and play is a love language. It's about connection, connectivity, having that visceral reaction of winning or defeat is something that you think about, and it's a real experience. I think a lot of times, and obviously I worked at Marvel. I did over $1 billion in video games at Marvel. And so I'm a huge video gamer, but I think there's something about tabletop games that allow you to kind of have a real connection experience where you're not kind of staring at a screen or on your phones, but like actually reading the person across the table from you, feeling their emotions, things like that, which I think is tremendous. And I love that. And I love the fact that we're, you know, doing games like Strawberry Shortcake, Berry Bestie's Bake Off, and all these games where like these are shows that I watch with my daughters as a way of bonding, and then having a chance to take that into a game form and play the game with my kids is just really an amazing, unique experience that what the whole company is all about.
Wow. I mean, you are the licensing guy, though. You knew all about this before you put that paper down on the ground, right? You know all about. Tell them about your background with that.
Yeah, I'm a nerd, right? I literally, when it was funny. When I was a kid, the I was reading a comic book when Spider-Man was running away from Venom on a desert island, and I was like, if all I could do in life would be to get a annual subscription to Amazing Spider-Man, that would be like I've made it in life, right? And an annual subscription to Amazing Spider-Man at that time was $12, $1 an issue, and so that's how big I was dreaming.
Wow.
but I ended up working at Marvel later on in life, and so that was just incredible. And I literally worked in every single area of the business, from comic books, and so my name's in a bunch of comic books, custom comic books that we made for brands. I worked in consumer products, and so I've been, doing consumer products my entire life, as well as theatrical. Had a chance to work on a bunch of theatrical campaigns, as well as TV, and then video games. And so I had a amazing experience at Marvel. I've been in the entertainment business for 22 years this year, which is
Wow.
amazing. And so, it's just been, quite the journey. And so I'm obviously have built a relationship and across all those different areas of the business, and worked with a ton of different brands, and kind of taken that full circle in the starting of Maestro Media.
Okay. Okay. So we have Father's Day coming up. For dads listening, I was going to say today, but it's actually we're pre-recorded, so it'll be next week. What are your top 3 go-to games or activity to spark genuine connection with your kids?
Should I name my top 3 games for my company? I won't do that. I'll
You can. I'm just going to ask you for more after that. That's all.
Yes, all the Maestro Media games you should play with your family.
Yes.
But also, I think, games or activities. I'm in LA, and so we've made it a kind of a tradition to go to the beach on Father's Day, and
Oh,
you
I
know,
love that.
and do that with our kids, which is amazing. Dad gets to barbecue and barbecue whatever he wants to do on Father's Day. And so that generally is a brisket that I smoke for about 18 hours.
Nice.
and so and so there's the beach and the food, and then I'm in a house with 3 women, and so I do not control the television, but on that day I control the TV. And so I get to watch what I want, eat what I want, and go to the beach, which is awesome.
That's funny. That's so funny. I love that. No, those are great activities for Father's Day, especially. So, in your family, who is the most competitive out of the bunch?
My oldest daughter, Chloe,
Really? Why do you say that?
she is like me in competitiveness and drive. Like, she is very, very. But then my youngest daughter, Quinn, will not does not want to lose, regardless, even if she has to flip the table over. Or
That's funny. But she's younger, right? How much younger?
she's
She's
9. She's 9.
9. Okay.
Or like, I'm like we play like Go Fish, and she's like, no. I'm like, there's no more cards. You can't keep.
Right.
but,
Right.
but no, I don't know. It's a hard question. I think our whole family has that competitive gene. My wife does as well. Although she will act like, she'll act like she doesn't, but she does as well.
Really?
So
That's
games in
funny.
our house get very boisterous very quickly.
Wait, did your family? My family talks a lot of smack when they win it. When
Oh
they're
yeah. Can you imagine talking smack playing strawberry shortcake? But we will.
That's cute
Or
smack.
Donald Duck, yeah, for sure.
That's adorable.
We can turn any game into a smack talking fest, which is good.
That is absolutely adorable. All right. We know for a fact that research says play reduces stress and boosts immunity. Now we have busy dads out there. They're working like you're like yourself. You found yourself flying all those miles one year. How can they sit down and just carve out time to play when life feels so hectic?
100%. I think what one of the big ways that I was able to drive connectivity to the family was coming home and carving out like a 30-minute play session, right? The challenges with working fathers, is that you get home and you've got like a small window before your kids have to go to bed, right? And
Yeah.
driving some sort of real connection, for our family, we don't watch television until the weekends. And so it's like, okay, what activity can, we do to drive some sort of um, connection? And for that was games. And so I just come home and sit down, and play a game session with my kids, and that was enough to have that experience for that day, where we had some fun, some competitiveness, and some interaction that really was a great experience. And that's why I love tabletop. That's why I love bringing people back to the table, because you really, it for me, it translates to experiences. It translates to experiences with my kids, experiences with my family. If one person won the game on Monday, you better believe the rest of us are trying to win on Tuesday and for the rest of the week. And so, I'll tell you my not a tabletop story, but a video game story. Me and my daughter, we had my wife. We got so competitive. My wife bought us one of those like basketball flip charts with the numbers, right? That
Yeah.
and so we had a Mario Kart competition all the way up to to see who could get to 99. And whoever won got to 99, because that's as high the numbers go to, right? Would win a Mario Kart party.
Yeah.
And so that's like that was, I have a teenage daughter, but that was the way of us having some sort of experience every day. And it also let us break the television rule, because we said we were bonding over,
Right.
which is cool. Our house burned down in the
Oh.
Palisades.
Oh,
Um,
no, no, not with the wildfires. I'm
and
sorry to hear that. I
and
was
so
keeping an eye on that.
the scoreboard burned up with it, and I was like, "Hey, sorry, no one won." That's what my daughter's
Well, at
like.
least you're light about it. I mean, wow.
It's been a tremendous journey for me and my family. But now I think about that, because now Nintendo just came out with the Nintendo Switch 2, and they have Mario Karts. My daughter's like, "You better
Wow.
get that, because the tournament's back on."
That's so funny. She has
But
to get another
yeah,
scoreboard.
I have to get another scoreboard and all that stuff. But just to say how much through everything, gameplay drove a connection, drove an activity for me and my daughter, something that we look forward to, all these things. And I just really love the power of games.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say to dads who might feel self-conscious about like playing in front of kids? Maybe they're a little bit more stoic or conservative or machismo or, you know, alpha male, whatever they want to call it. What advice do you have for like shaking off this hesitation that some dads might have?
I, you know, uh, we, I think there's no need for that in front of your kids. As a matter of fact, like um, you're driving confidence you know, uh, in your kids by being vulnerable. My daughters are big into K-pop, right? And so, I sing the songs and do all that stuff, and it's just our chance of for bonding. And so I think, I think gameplay and games and play in general drives confidence, and drives competitiveness, and drives a lot of life lessons that they'll need for as they matriculate into the world. I'm having a big life moment right now, because my daughter's going into high school, which I just can't believe I'm that old, for God's sake.
Goes by fast, fast.
Right. And I think, yes, I think you know, uh, by being a part of the experience, I think it's the same way like competitive sports, right? I think gameplay is the same way. It teaches you a lot of the lessons of winning and losing, and dealing with winning and losing, and dealing with competition and strategy, and all these things, which I think are so important. And I think you being a part of that is a way of teaching your kids those important life lessons in life. Life lessons that will give them the basis for who they eventually become. And so I think it's so important.
Yes, absolutely. And I was talked to you before we got on the show about how, physical play with dads is totally different from moms. So I'm happy to see card games come along for dads to sit down and play, because I tell you, I've watched dads throw the kids up like 50 feet in the air in the pool. And I'm sitting there like,
Well,
oh my
we do that.
God.
We do that stuff too. It's okay.
Oh my God, I know. It's like, I don't know what's going on with that Y chromosome, but every time I see a dad playing with their kids, I'm like, this is different from what
my,
we do.
yeah, my daughter's my 13-year-old's out of that phase now, but my 9-year-old still tries to beat me up, and so that's
Wrestle time.
Wrestling time, right? I don't know where they get that from, but yeah.
They can do that with that. You can't do that with mom. You can't
Exactly.
go
And
just
she
jump
said
on
that.
mom's neck.
She's like, it's not as fun to climb, mom, as it is for you. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be your jungle gym, right? That's the thing I'll probably cry about when I'm 70, that I was your jungle gym, right?
Right? Now you were talking about the new Switch too. We have digital games, we have card games. Where do you see the future of games like evolving for today's families? Do you think we're going to go back to the basics, or are we going to just dive in more digitally, or you think it's going to be a nice little blend of both?
Both. I mean, I think what you've seen is a increase year over year for physical gameplay, which I think is amazing. Like tabletop games is a business that really exploded during COVID and continues to grow year over year annually, because I think people long for that physical connection. They long for the actual ability to play games in person, around the table or at a park or something. We have a travel kit that we bring all of our favorite games to, and we'll sit at restaurants and play games and things like that. And so I think that experience of having that physical, tangible gameplay experience will continue to grow, especially in a digital age where I think sometimes people need to disconnect and pull back from um, digital devices and drive some sort of connectivity. I think that'll grow. But at the same time, I think digital games are going to continue to grow, especially considering AI and personalization and all the technological benefits which we're seeing from digital gaming. I think the experience, I mean, we'll be in a world where you'll be able to play a video game and I'll be able to play a video game, and my experience will be totally different than your experience, very similar to how it is on social media, right?
Yeah.
That they're having non-playable characters in games that are 100% will be able to talk to you. To like
Wow.
literally say talk to you, and you'll have different missions that are tailored to you and different experiences that are tailored to you, and that's happening today. So 5 years from now, I can't even imagine the technological advances of digital games, and I think it's just really remarkable and exciting. And so I think there's space for both. As a lifelong gamer, I'm here for it. I love it. It's like you said, it's my love language. It's the thing that I use to have experiences for myself and with other people. And so I'm excited for the future.
Fantastic. What is next for your company? What should we expect?
Well, we've got a big Kickstarter with Clash of Clans. Our business has really been focused on Kickstarter. We've done over $15 million on Kickstarter with over 10 campaigns that I've personally managed. And so we launched the Binding of Isaac Kickstarter in 2000 and, 2021, which was did $6.7 million in 30 days, one of the seventh largest campaigns of all time. We've even gamified the experience, the way that we bring games to the marketplace. And so uh, for us, we have a big campaign with Clash of Clans. Clash of Clans, one of the biggest um, mobile games in the history of games, over 640 million players, and we're bringing a tabletop version, the first tabletop version of this game ever, to market on June 17th. And so we're super excited about that. We're launching our Kickstarter. We've even gamified the process of bringing games to fans by using Kickstarter and allowing people to
Love that.
have feedback on elements and things like that. And so we're super excited about that for our company. And it's coming up very soon.
Oh, I'm so happy for all of your success. I mean, obviously, I've done crowdfunding wrong because I never raised anything close to that. So I'll give you all the kudos for that because that's amazing. 6 point something million. That's wild to me. But I'm so happy that you were able to do that. And we'll make sure we get that information too. And I'll put that in the article about your Kickstarters too. So people
Thank
can go there and check it out
you.
for themselves, and also in the description for this podcast. Now, is there anything that you want to tell our parents who are listening to this podcast?
No, I mean, look, I think the story is, with our business, I said I was flying 150,000 uh,
Yeah.
miles a year. I didn't know what my kids ate for breakfast. And I started Maestro Media to spend more time and have more time with my family and my kids. And we uh, you know launched the campaign I talked about that did $6.7 million in 30 days, and really piloted our business from one game to, I think we were 20 plus licenses and brands today. And really with the foundation of how do I do something that I can have more connection with my family, derive a legacy for my family. And it really was rooted in family. And my daughters now, they're, like I said, they're play testers of the games, they play the games, they're summer interns this summer for the
Wow.
company. It's just been a way of connectivity. And so I think for me, it's really born out of family and love for my daughters and trying to find a way of connection with our daughters. And so the success is really just a byproduct of that. And I felt very lucky and blessed to have made the decision to start the company. I talk about it all the time on social media, online, on LinkedIn. We've got a pretty active community there. And I just wanted to say, to the parents that you know, there's a way to kind of, integrate your family into, what you're doing, your passion, your love, your career, and make them a part of that. They work the booth when we travel. We travel internationally to a game show. We go to a show in Germany called Essen Spiel, and they work the booth and and put the t-shirts on and all that.
Yes.
And it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of a lifetime. And I thank God that I'm feel very fortunate and blessed to have been able to, I think work-life balance is a myth. I don't think it's real, but being able to work life integrate the two things, and have my family be so much of a part of, Maestro Media and where we're going and our business and the games has been the greatest gift that I've ever received, and I'm very thankful for it.
Wow, that's a great answer. You made a lot of great points, and I don't think there's such a thing as work-life balance either. So I'm glad you said that. Where can our listeners find you on social media, and what's the best way to support your work?
Yeah, I mean, our company website's Maestro Media, so maestromedia.com. I'm on LinkedIn as Javon Frazier. We've got an active community there on LinkedIn and all social media as Javon Frazier. And so would love to, connect with you all there. And, it's been, I've had a bunch of, like I alluded to, a bunch of life events over the last couple years with we had the Palisades
Mhm.
fire, which I mentioned, and obviously, reason I can talk about it so lightly or lighthearted is because the community has really lifted me up through this. Our business went through a lot with the fires and the tariffs and all the things that are going on in the world, and I'm just super
Yeah.
blessed for the community that's really shown up for me and my family on social media. So I'd love to connect with people on social. I give a lot of tips and I wouldn't call them tips because I haven't figured it out. I would call them experiences, real life experiences for what I'm going through as a business leader and a father. And so if you want to follow me there, you can kind of see what we got going on. And it's not all about the successes and rah rah. It's about, hey, it's hard. This is what's happening. And I really try to connect with my audience in a real way. And they've in turn really supported me. So please connect with me on socials. And I'd love to, build a relationship and support the Kickstarter that's coming out in the company because we do it all for the fans and do it all for the people that want to, drive these experiences through play.
Right. So you're keeping it real on social media. So I'll follow you as well as the magazine. We'll make sure we support you guys. Okay.
For sure. Thank you for the opportunity. I can't thank you enough for, I love sharing the story, and I thank you. I thank you so much for having me.
Well, I love hearing it. And I want to thank you, Javon, for coming on the show. I really do. And a big shout out to all of you watching this special edition of Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. Be sure you follow us on social media. Click everything, our follows, our likes, our ads. It all helps us out. Until next time, I wish you all the best and much success. Take care, and thank you for listening, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.